All right, we are recording. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who showed up. We appreciate you being here. This evening, we wanted to do something special for you guys. We want to do something exciting. We want to do something uplifting and positive. And we want to do something where we can lead with love. This was inspired by so much chaos and negativity out there. And one morning I woke up and I got sick and tired of reading the black men ain't no good and the black woman ain't no good text on social media. And I said, you know what? I want to remind us how much we need to love each other. I want to remind black women how much I love black women. And hopefully black women understand where we're coming from and give some of that love back. So this is all started and all founded in love. They say God is love, so hopefully the presence of God is in the room. And I want us to get started. My name is Devin McCrory. I am the founder, president, and grand epicenter of the Wellness Initiative. What we do is I teach mindfulness and meditation to help people deal with depression, anxiety, and trauma. And I would like to introduce you gentlemen and you ladies to the wonderful sisters from Everyday Black Queens and also Inspire Be Well. And I want you ladies to take turns to introduce yourselves and basically tell people what you offer and everything that you feel about this moment right now. And we'd like to start with Nikki.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Nikki. I am co-creator of Everyday Black Queens along with Michelle. I'm also creator of Balance Your Wellness. It's a wellness agency that helps people consult and build wellness environments with different organizations and individuals as well. And Everyday Black Queens, Michelle's going to touch on the other half of it, but just to give you a summary, Everyday Black Queens is about women's empowerment. It's about pushing the Black woman at the forefront. It's about creating safe spaces where we can exist and exalt or uplift each other, and just kind of help each other with development, in this world. We give each other a hand, really. And I'm gonna pass it off to Michelle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle. I am a family nurse practitioner by trade, and I'm the other half of Everyday Black Queens. Like Nikki said, we really created Everyday Black Queens to have a space for Black women where they are celebrated and not tolerated. Like Nikki said, move them to the forefront. So when we were asked to be a part of this conversation, we're very excited to talk about Black love, because all love is great, but I am an advocate for Black love mainly. So we are so excited to be here. Follow us on IG at Everyday Black Queen so you can learn more and, just be a part of the tribe.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to pass it to Lauren. Lauren, go ahead, rock and roll.
All right. I am Lauren McCullen. I am a school counselor by day. And I also run Inspire Be Well, which is a company based on wellness and nutrition for all people, but especially for Black women and for our community. We have terrible access in the Black community to nutrition and the resources that are necessary to live abundantly. But I fully believe that we should all have abundant life. And as the pinnacle of womanhood and the backbone of society, the Black woman needs love and attention directed to herself, needs that self-love, and that's the best way to achieve wellness. So I empower women to do just that through wellness in the way that suits them best as they gravitate toward a better lifestyle and better living for their entire community and for their families. So thank you.
Awesome. And thank you all very much for coming here this evening. I appreciate you guys blessing me with your presence. And I want to begin this conversation. I'm going to ask this question of myself. What is something that I love about Black queens? And I thought about this long and hard because it's a long list, right? And I'm trying not to be too mystical, right? But I'm going to go a little deep with it, and I'll try to be fast as possible. In the Bible, it says that God made man in his image, right? But if you look at the ancient Hebrew text, when it says man, it means like human. So God made the man and the woman together. They were bound together at first. When it says God made man in his image, that's what he was talking about. He's talking about the man and the woman both together. Because when we bind ourselves together, we become creative. We become like God because we can create life. And I feel like that's what I love the most about the Black woman, is the fact that we are the givers of life in this world, the creators of life in this world. And I, as a Black man, I can't do any of that without the Black woman. The Black woman is a part of myself. And there was a song where there was a lyric that said, I spent my whole life feeling incomplete, not understanding why. And that's how a Black man feels when there's no Black woman there. When there's no black woman to have his back, when there's no black woman to understand him and support him, the black man becomes a deranged lunatic. He becomes something other than himself. He loses the knowledge of who he is because he loses the knowledge of that black queen. So I love the black queens because you, in essence, provide so much power for us that we can't be complete without you. If I love myself, that means I'm gonna love a black woman. And that's what I love the most about the black woman, is the fact that you were there with us from the very beginning. And when everybody else is gone, it's just gonna be us in this beautiful black star lit universe. You are my other half. You are the essence of the divine that is here for me, and I'm the essence of the divine that's here for you. And that's what I love the most about the black queen. Now, I would like to ask the black women, what do you love about black men, black kings? Which might be, and I'm gonna say it might be a hard question for some sisters who've been through some tough times, some tough situations. We understand that, but we would like for you to, give us a blessing if you can.
I love the essence, the nature, the power, the divinity of a black man. I love the chocolate skin. I love the sun-kissed melanin. I love the power behind the eyes. I love the admonition that you all have for us and for your children and for life. I love that you are confident, that you are strong. I think the world sees you as a threat because of how naturally strong and powerful and brave and fierce and bold you are, because you are able to do so much. And I love the unity that we are able to create when we are truly yoked, when we are truly in sync, and we are able to work together, uplift one another, when we can literally pivot between one's so-called weaknesses and strengths and literally fill in those gaps to make a whole unit and to rise above. Something that I said just the other day was like, y'all got the skin of the body of God's, the skin of copper, and you bear the weight of the world and the resentment of the world, and you do it with grace and with beauty, and it's unsurpassable, and it's hard to put into words. But I love a black king. Nothing like a black king, especially when he's walking in his power.
Thank you.
Yes, Lauren. Am I next? Okay. What do I love about black kings? Everything. Like Lauren said, it's very hard to put into words, right? With everything that the world throws at black men, just waking up every day is a big feat, right? Going into the world. And a lot of women might say this, and I'm not taking anything away from that, but I love the protection I receive from black men. I love black men in my space. I wouldn't pick anyone else. That's always going to be my number one. I love the ambition, the resilience, the attitude of always getting up and trying and always putting your best foot forward no matter what the world throws at you. And like Lauren said, the world sees you as a threat because of how strong you are. And when a black man is truly walking, a black king is truly walking in their power, they are God in my eyes. Not to be God, but you can see God in them. I love black men.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki?
Wow, that was powerful, Michelle. I like that. I love black men. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question, honestly. There's list goes on, as you said. But I love the swag of black men. I like the way they look. Everything looks great when it's a little bit of melanin in there, right? Like black men are bomb. I like the way black men talk. This is just the outward stuff, right? But I like a black man's soul because it's been tested and it's still here and it's resilient. It's like the rose through concrete. It's the prettiest rose. It's the rose with the most soul. I like black men because like Michelle was saying, I like the protection of a black man. I feel there's nothing going to stop them. They're lions, they're tigers, for their women and their families, Yeah.
Okay.
I like to I like a Black man's mind too, more than anything. It's so creative, so strong, so robust with ideas. I mean, yeah, Black men are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I am truly.
Yeah, I think we always think about it, but being asked to describe it, you have to
Yeah.
sit there and think a little bit like, what do I love?
Yeah,
Because it's just
exactly.
something that you used to every day. It's like, I love that. I love that. But when you're asked, you really like, oh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, these kind words that we just gave each other, for a lot of people, that's very, very rare. And like I said, this whole thing was inspired because I kept seeing these posts about how Black men are no good and Black women are no good. There were so many attacks, and I think that a big issue that we have in our community that's keeping us from really connecting with each other is the fact that so many of us have been hurt. And I want to respect everybody's pain, everybody's experiences, but I think that if we learn to heal, that will help us to connect with each other again. And I wanted to ask you ladies, what is meant by healing? What does it mean when people have to heal? What does the process of healing entail?
I'll say from personal experience, it takes intense introspection. It takes pausing, sitting in the silence, sitting with the pain, letting the pain out, and forcing the growth. You spoke about the hurt and the pain, and a lot of women have been hurt. And I mean, I'm sure each of us has been hurt by someone. And the biggest thing I had to learn was not to take shit so personally. I was in a 12-year marriage, beautiful marriage, 2 children, and that ended, and it crushed me, and it hurt me, and it broke me, and he hurt me, and he broke me. And I had to say, at the end of the day, what did I do? What was my fault? What was my lack? What do I need to fix? And to this day, I still have love for that person, even after all the hurt, the pain, the nastiness, the whatever. I still have love for that person as a Black man, as a Black king, as the person, who is 100% a part of my children and the father of my children and an excellent father to my children. But knowing that whatever was in me wasn't able to receive or reciprocate the love that he needed, I had to go and do introspection. I had to sit with the pain. And a lot of times when that pain comes, we as Black women or anyone, we tend to push it aside because we got stuff to do. We got bills to pay. We got children to take care of. We have, whatever we have on our plate. But to sit with the tears, sit in the silence, pick up a journal and write down the stuff that's happening up in here and up in here, putting it on paper. It's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. You might lose weight. You might gain weight. You might cry all day. You might cry yourself to sleep. You might go and punch a couple of people. You never know what you're going to do, but you have to find healing. Otherwise, you're going to take it into the next relationship. You're going to take it into work. You're going to take it into your children's lives, and it's going to be toxic, and it's going to build up, and it will kill you from the inside out. So that for me was my own personal story, was just healing for myself.
Right. Nikki, what is healing, and what do you think of the process of healing entails?
I think that's a really good question. When I get there, I'll let you know. I'm just kidding. I think healing is intentional. It has a lot to do with intention. It has a lot to do with elevating above fears. It has a lot to do with, growth, right? Because everything that heals grows. You can look at your body, a great example. And I also love what Lauren said about not taking things personal and understanding that you are an individual, but you're also part of a larger group, right?
Right.
You have a higher purpose. And so wasting your time doing the same things and not growing, that's not healing. So healing is also painful. It can be at times. So I think healing is many, many things, and it looks many, many different ways for many, many different people. But that's, those are the things that I think about when I think of what healing is.
Right. Thank you. Michelle?
For me, I think healing is about, like Nikki said, intention. But one of the most important things about healing is people think that healing is for other people. Healing is for yourself. You need to get to a point where you are okay with yourself. You can live with yourself. I always hear this from a lot of people, like, I need closure. I need to talk to them to get closure.
Yeah.
That's not the other person can't give you closure, no matter what they did, because you have to sit with yourself and be able to forgive the person and yourself for whatever happened, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like healing for me is when I get to a point where it's not necessarily that I forgot what the person did or forgot about the situation, but I've gotten to a point that that situation doesn't hold me down anymore. That situation doesn't cripple me anymore. And for me, that's what healing is. And it took me a while to learn that. I was the person that always needed closure from someone because maybe it was, no, I did this, but they did this. That's worse than what I did. So I need closure. I need to talk to them. And what do you need to hear from them? You hear that I'm sorry. Then the next day, you still living with yourself. Did that sorry change anything?
Yeah,
So
right.
that's really what healing means to me.
Right. Got you. And one thing that really helped me,
Sorry.
yeah, one thing that really helped me during the healing process of some things that I went through was using the situation and seeing the situation, no matter how much emotional pain I was in, I saw it as a blessing because I realized that, the life that I live is a mirror, it's a reflection of my flaws. And regardless of what I went through, whether I was deceived, whether I was lied to, whether I was manipulated, whatever, you can't put that all on somebody else. I participated in creating that reality. So all my flaws, all my faults got exposed. That's why a lot of times this pain hurts, because then you look at yourself. That's what really hurt me the most. Like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I allowed that. I can't believe I went through that pain and didn't put my foot down. I can't believe it lasted that long. So a lot of times I think that when I started looking at myself and started to really build myself up through self-efficacy by learning new skills, learning how to build more, learning how to be more ambitious, that helped me to heal a lot because I began to transform and see things very differently. And it wasn't, I didn't want to play the blame game. It's all your fault. You did this, you did that. I realized that, once I was able to share responsibility and put the responsibility on me, that was a way for me to keep my power. I kept my power by understanding that I was a participant in something that I ended up not happy because I helped to create it. So that's what really helped me to get through. At least in my case, it helped me to get through. And that helped me to really walk that path of healing. I walked the path of healing because I understood that I had the power. I created it. I can uncreate it, and I can make something even better next time because I've learned.
And we teach people how to treat us.
Exactly.
Even if we don't realize it by saying it, we do.
Exactly. And when you meet somebody, I'm pretty sure this happens to all of us. I'm thinking back on all the years when I was younger, where I would be, meeting a young lady, and it'll be like the first month and everything's smooth. And then they try something. They'll make a little comment. They'll promise to be somewhere and not show up. That's people like to test to see what they can and can't get away with. They like to see what you're going to allow. So by letting it slide that first time, then the second time, then the third time, now they know it's okay to treat you like dirt. They know it's okay to abuse you. They know it's okay for them to make certain comments to you because you sat back and you, like you said, you taught them that it was okay for them to behave in that way. Okay. And something else that I wanted to ask you guys, there's you guys mentioned hurt and going through pain and having to go through the healing process. And Lauren, you mentioned being like crushed by your experiences. I see so many people go through experiences where they get crushed and then it becomes sort of like a gender vendetta. And I'm not saying it to be funny, but a lot of people feel like, you know what, this guy hurt me so bad, I can't trust men anymore. This person lied to me so much, I can't trust Black women anymore. How did you guys get to the point where you were hurt by certain things and you saw certain things were right, but you still were able to still love Black men in general, even if not specifically?
That's actually an interesting question for me because I don't think I ever associate being hurt with someone by like their race or
Right.
You know what I mean? So I never felt like, now all Black men are, there's things that I said that maybe I've noticed about Black men, but to say like, F Black men, I don't know that I've ever felt like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I can see how someone could feel like that. With that said, I also know that like there's certain things that are about just men generally that I don't think I think it's also toxic to kind of group, a group of people and say that they're this because of this experience. Everyone's contextual background is going to be different. Their families are going to be different. Their life experiences are going to be different. So, I mean, it's also about the type of person you're interacting with over and over again.
Right.
Not so much about their culture.
Right.
Type of individual.
Okay.
For me, I think it just came in maturity. Because me in my 20s, I did say that. All these men ain't, and all these men ain't, and all these men ain't. So I'm not going to sit up here in front like that wasn't me. But I think it comes with maturity and being exposed to men, not boys.
Right.
So that made a big difference for me. I was what's the word I'm looking for? I was talking or entertaining boys when I thought I was entertaining and talking to men.
Right.
So I put certain expectations on them that they could never fill because they weren't there yet in life. And that's okay. We're all going through a journey and a process, and we'll get where we need to get when we get there. And when I finally met a man, I was like, oh.
Gotcha.
Okay. So for me, I was that person in my 20s where I used to say stuff like that. And with maturity, that just changed, and more exposure and just having certain conversations with people, that changed for me.
Okay. I want to ask a follow-up question, Lauren. I do want to give you a chance to speak, but I just wanted to ask, you said, boys and men, like if a sister's out here in the dating world and she's amongst these savages, how can she differentiate between what's a man and what's a boy? So I thought that was a real interesting point.
I think that, Lauren, do you want to answer that first? Or I saw you on mute.
Yeah, finish.
I think the first mistake we make as maybe humans in society is we think that maturity and things like that come with age. And they're not, they do not coexist. Like somebody can be 40 and still act like a 15-year-old, and someone can be 31 and act like a 50-year-old, and they're just a mature person. I think I did that. Be like, but you're 35. How are you still acting like this?
Right.
Life. Everyone is a different part of their journey in life. And when you meet someone that's consistent and they follow through with their words, something simple like, and I'm using this from my experience, something simple as, what time do you have to get up in the morning? I go 8:30. I have a very important meeting. Okay, I'm going to make sure I call you at 8:30. Even though you have an alarm, I'm going to call you at 8:30 to make sure you wake up, babe. And I'm like, okay. And they actually call you every time at 8:30 to make sure, little things like that, just the consistency and being someone that you can rely on, and someone that you start to realize, this is my partner in life. This is someone I want to do life with, because they are reliable, they are honest, they're consistent, and they make my life better.
Right.
Not that they're going to take over and make you 100%, but they add to your life where you're like, my life is better with them. This is a good time. So I think that's when you realize that you are not with a boy. If someone's bringing stress into your life, I can find stress all on my own, sir. I don't need your help in that department.
So kind of like what Michelle was saying, like, yes, age and maturity are not synonymous in any sense of the word. But for me, it was knowing that I am going to attract what I am giving and what I am putting out as well, because he will be a reflection of me when he is meant for me. And so if I am walking in my authority, if I am moving with consistency, if I am disciplined, I will also attract someone who is disciplined. If I am loving myself, the reason we often attract people of that low caliber is because we're putting out the doubt, we're putting out the fear, we're putting out the worry, we're putting out the distrust. And that comes from not knowing ourselves well enough. So many people are walking around not knowing that they are 100% completely them. We're looking for that person to complete us. You complete me, like the little movies. Don't nobody need that. You're complete all on your own. And that was one thing that was like monumental for me to know, because I was kind of raised with I need the you complete me. I was raised to be like a Disney princess. I need my knight in shining armor, and then I'll be complete. And then that's what I got. And I was like, hold up, I'm a whole entire queen. Are you kidding me? So I think it's important that people really realize you are not looking for someone to complete you. And whatever it is that you are and that you believe you are, that's also what you're going to attract. So keep on thinking about the negativity and the doubt and the mistrust, and you'll keep getting it.
True, true. And also, too, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I know there was times in my life where I was going through dark periods and I would be surrounded by certain people. And then the minute I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start working out, not drinking no more, not giving into the negativity no more, start meditating every day and start focusing more on my spirituality. And they just vanished. They don't want to hang out no more. They stay. It's almost like you got this repellent around you now. With those friends, you don't have to cut them off. You ain't got to argue with them. You ain't got to say, yo, we can't be cool no more. None of that. They just kind of vanish out your life. So what you're saying is 100% right in my experiences, because that negativity will just stay away from you when you put positivity inside of you. All right. So my next question, what is it that Black women need to heal? And can Black men help? What can we do to help if it's possible?
I'll say definitely more confident Black men walking in their power. I hate seeing, all this murderous, treacherous awfulness in the world. And then Black men feel defeated and like, well, I can't even walk outside. I can't go buy Skittles. I can't do this. I can't breathe. And I'm like, no. You can do all of that. You were a king at creation. You are king now. Do that. Walk in that. Seeing them walk in their authority is, to me, that's all the healing we need, because when you're walking in your power, I am reflecting back at you. I am able to walk in mine as well. Giving me the confidence that you know who you are helps me to know that, okay, all right, I got this too. I know who I am. And, I think that would be the only way to help, because we are the true healers of ourselves. We have to do it for ourselves. We can't depend on you guys to do it for us, just like you can't depend on us to do it for you. But I feel like seeing you walking in your power is the most healing thing for us.
So by seeing Black men be stronger and heal themselves kind of creates a space where you can heal. Is that kind of?
Yeah. So, and it doesn't necessarily just mean strong all the time, not that physically strong. I can take anything. Also being vulnerable is strength. Seeking healing is strength.
Right.
Being open and balancing your masculine and feminine. Okay, I can cry. I can be sad. I can be this. I can be weak. I'm weak in this area. I need strength in this area. All of that to me is strength. When you can admit that you're wrong, when you can admit that, you need forgiveness, or you need help with something, or counseling, or, whatever, or a hug, that to me is strength.
Right. So Michelle, what do you think that Black women need to heal, and how can Black men add to that?
I don't like speaking for all Black women, so I'll say for me, in front of everything. For me, I think I need someone to be my peace, right? And when I say that, I don't want you to heal me, but in this world, when I go out there being a Black woman, it can be hard enough at times. I don't want to come home and be arguing with a Black man. I don't want to come home and have the additional stresses of a Black man. I want to come home to a unit where, tell me how your day was, man, let me tell you. And there are certain experiences that a Black man is going to understand, just like there are certain experiences he can tell me that I'm going to understand, strictly just from us both being Black, right? I'm going to understand that. You can come home and you can vent it out. I can come home, vent it out, and then we can have some wine and have dinner, right? That's what I want. I want someone that's going to be my peace, not necessarily add to the stresses, because especially in the world we're in now, it can be very stressful. You know what I mean? Like in my field I'm a nurse practitioner. I go in with my white coat, my stethoscope. Hi, I'm going to be your provider. Oh, you're not my nursing assistant? Nothing wrong with being a nursing assistant. But if you saw a white woman with the white coat and the stethoscope, you would not assume they're here to take you to the bathroom, right? That, can, after a while, that can wear on you. And I come home, now I don't want to argue too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think Black women, or for me as a Black woman, what I need from a Black man is to be my peace, and us doing life together and conquering and going through things together, not separate.
Gotcha. Nikki, how would you answer that question? What do Black women need to heal, and how can Black men help and provide that?
Michelle, you make me want to go hug my husband because I definitely feel that, like, I feel that strongly in my house. I get to come home and we get to unpack, and we get to unpack as our most organic identities. Um, and I think I'm spoiled now that I'm hearing you say it. like, oh, people are grateful for that. I should be grateful. But what I was thinking of is really like I like it, or I need for them to heal themselves, and for us to be able, us together, to be able to hold space for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, so for example, like when you maybe not even having a bad day, but you're just emotional and you're confused or you're just distraught, for them to be able to have space and not be, oh my God, you're having emotions, and not be able to handle that, or for them not to be able to speak their emotions or show, like Lauren said, vulnerability. I think these things are really, really important because we're in a different world where brute strength is not everything. Brute strength a lot of times can lead to this toxic masculinity. So a man who kind of is doing the work to understand that and to hold space for that, for me, I think, or at least a man, even if you're not there, but you're open to it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be right all the time, and check your ego, I guess,
Gotcha.
but that's all in growth, right? So.
Right. It's a process, definitely a process. Speaking as a black man who's been through things emotionally myself, I made a lot of mistakes. I think one of the things that black men need, and I don't even know if I could put it into words properly, but I think it's a lack of judgment. Like when mistakes get made, things don't go how they're supposed to go. Somebody drops the ball. I would like to be able to say I made this mistake, I'm sorry, without feeling like the cold shoulder, without feeling like, okay, you're worthless as a man now, without feeling like I'm disappointed, so everything got to stop, everything got to shut down because something went wrong. I think a lot of times when black men are afraid of disappointing our women enough, and then on top of that, when there's an air of judgment, when there's the anger, when there's the negative comments, when there's the attack that comes with me dropping the ball, I feel like that makes me put my armor on. And when you put your armor on, it's hard to heal. And I think that's one of the things that black men may need sometimes. We need to sometimes, like you said, vulnerability is a part of being strong. It's hard to be vulnerable when you know you're not perfect and you may be attacked for that. And I'm not saying that black men are always sterling, are always our higher selves, but at the same time, when we're trying and a mistake is made, an error is made, I want to feel as if I'm still welcome home. I don't want to feel like everything has to shut down and I'm no longer welcome in this space because of a mistake. And that makes, and I can admit a lot of that is our own issues too. But I think that a lot of men like to feel welcome. We like to feel encouraged and supported, even when a mistake is made, even in our imperfections. And I'm not talking about a black man being abusive or destructive. I'm just talking about an error, a mistake. We want to still feel like the black woman still loves us. So I think that's something that a lot of black men need. A lot of black men may just need that loving touch, that embrace, that, some don't even need words. A lot of black men, we simple creatures, very simple creatures. I make a mistake. Oh, okay. Give me a hug and, I'm back at it again. You'd be surprised at how much power a man gets from just touch. They say that if a man kisses a woman, that fills his body up with so much testosterone and energy, he'll risk death. So if my wife's there, have a good day at work, I can do anything. A touch on the back. Hey, baby, how you doing? That touch on the back. Oh, wow, I can do anything now. Can't nobody mess with me. So just those little small things, little small gestures of encouragement and love. I think a lot of black men miss that, but don't know how to ask for it.
Yeah, I think humans in general need to give each other more grace.
Mm-hmm. Right.
More grace. Sherelle said that's deep. That is.
Okay, so let's move on to our next question. What steps can women take to heal?
Say it again.
What steps can women take to heal?
For me, that often
More time with
involves.
yourself.
Huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I was saying learn themselves. Cheryl says learn themselves. I was saying, yeah, spend more time with yourself. Spend a lot, get to know yourself. Whether, even if you're in a relationship, you have to make the time, get to know yourself.
Right. Right. I'm sorry.
Ideally, before the relationship. I mean, I was gonna say before. For me, it was sitting with myself. Like the first time, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm by myself," and then I had to remember. I was like, "Wait a minute, no, I'm spending time with myself." And it's funny, you know. I talk about it some days at work, and I have a person who's like in the office, like right next to mine, and we share like a common space with the fridge. And I'll come out sometimes and he'll hear me talking and I'm like, I'm talking to myself. And he's like, but you answering. And I'm like, I'm my favorite person. I mean, I got to go home to me every single day, whether somebody's there or not. And I'm
Right,
like, I mean, call it a staff meeting if you want to, but I'm going to talk to me.
Right.
And so that's the thing. We have to get comfortable with ourselves as we learn ourselves. You're right, Sherelle. You're right, Nikki. Like we have to get to that point where we are disconnecting, put the phone down, put the iPad down, put the tablet, the music off, the TV off, you know, whether it's journaling, whether it's sitting and meditating, whether it's reading your word, the Bible, the Quran, I don't care what you read, read something that ignites you, that brings you alive, and then sit with it. Sit with the words that you just read, sit with the feelings that come. I love like those healing beats, stuff without words. Some people like classical music, violins, you know, whatever, but frequency beats or frequency rhythms, lo-fi beats, having that in the background and letting it go and just vibe and flow, or steal yourself away somewhere, go to the beach, you know, whatever is in your time budget, your financial budget, whatever it is, find something where you can just be with you. Learn yourself, appreciate yourself, honor yourself, and then connect back to yourself.
Right. Michelle, you want to say something?
I can expand on what they said. I really love what Cheryl said, learn yourself. When you don't know yourself, you tell other people how to treat you. You tell other people to tell you who you are. And then you accept what they do and tell you who you are. But when you know yourself and you're confident in yourself and someone does something that you don't like or you feel like is wrong, you're like, no, that doesn't vibe with my spirit. I didn't work on myself all this time for you to try to treat me any old way. So Cheryl kind of just wrapped it up before we even answered the questions. Learn yourself in a nice statement.
Perfect. I think for a lot of Black men, one thing that I could definitely recommend when it comes time to heal, and a lot of people might find this a controversial statement, we got to stop the use of intoxicants. That's a big thing. When we hurt, let's pop a bottle. When we're upset, let's get high. I mean, I had a friend of mine who lost his son. He started drinking, getting high, getting drunk. Then I saw him. He told me he lost his son. I'm like, oh man, you lost your son? He's like, yeah, I got over it though. I said, when was that? He's like, 2 weeks ago. I'm like, your son died 2 weeks ago. And you think popping a bottle of Hennessy is going to solve that pain? You think getting high is going to solve that pain? But it's a form of escapism that so many of us have been trained to use. Even myself, I grew up in the hood. I had friends that got incarcerated, had friends who got killed. So whenever we feel that pain, even when my father passed away when I was 21. And from that moment forth, for like years, I was drunk every single day. And then when I finally said it's time for me to stop and overcome this depression, when that depression finally hit, it was like a brick wall. It was like driving a car 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. But you know what? I finally started the path to healing when I stopped trying to avoid the pain. You got to go through that pain to heal. And I think way too many Black men, instead of facing that pain and dealing with that pain, even in relationships where you're getting the love and support you need, too many of us want to drink, want to smoke, want to pop a pill. And I think that's one of the things that is, you know, I usually will say, you know, I'm not trying to judge nobody. No, I'm gonna tell you up front. No, don't. That's one of the things I'm gonna tell you. If you're going through pain, stop drinking. Period. Stop popping pills. Period. Stop smoking. Period. Get a therapist and chill with that nonsense. But I'm not. You know, people always want to whine that you're being judgmental. I'll be judgmental this one time. Throw the stones. I don't care.
I know what
I don't
said that.
find,
No one said that, but I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about therapy? Because I'm a big advocate for therapy. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sherelle said it's almost like men are conditioned to suppress their emotions, and because they don't know how to sit with it, they find other avenues. Definitely.
Absolutely.
I remember in nursing school, in psych, literally one of the diagnoses, like for any psych condition, is failure to cope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Failure to cope means you do not have the mechanisms set in place or the systems in place in your life to be able to pull yourself out when it gets done, when it gets like dark, right? And I think it's just in society, the way we raise men and women, or boys and girls are allowed for that. We're allowed to cry. You know what I mean? You feel pain, little girl, you can cry, it's okay. Little boy, toughen up, wipe them tears, you know what I mean? And also, little boys get the tough end of trauma in families, especially little Black boys, right? Like you now the man of the house and I'm 6. Or, you take on all these manly responsibilities without even knowing how to be a man.
Right.
But you have to suppress how you feel so deep down, because if it comes out, you might not be able to function because you don't have skills to deal with that. So yeah, I hear you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate what you shared also, and Sherelle's comment, like everyone is saying, we need to make safe spaces for men, young men, and for boys to cry. That's one thing I notice is deep-seated, especially within our community. When I did start to move on my own, my dad would say things to my son like, well, you're the man of the house now. And I said, no, the hell he is not. And, we'll say things like, no, toughen up. Big boys don't cry. And I said, big boys cry, little boys cry. And, I make sure his dad says the same things to him. Boys respond to that pain because they're used to being given that pain, but they need to learn how to let the tears out and making those safe spaces so that when they are grown men, they can cry. And ain't nobody saying you got to go cry at work or cry at the bar or cry, wherever you're at, that you're around people. You can go cry in the house. But yeah, I mean, alcohol is a depressant. Like people will joke me all the time because I'll be out with friends and I'll be like, no, I'm sad today, I'm not drinking. And they're like, why not? So it's a depressant. So I'm good. I'd rather not go home. And so, we have to be responsible enough to make a culture that is able to cry, just even if you have a Y chromosome. So we want that.
All right. So another question I wanted to ask was, there's a lot of women out there in the dating world, and there's a lot of guys who have not healed, and you end up in relationships with guys who have not healed, and you end up dealing with their issues and not really enjoying the relationship. What are some signs that women can look for when you're dealing with a man who has not healed and might not even be ready for the relationship?
The red flags are always there. Pay attention to them. It's easier said than done. We've all been there where we've seen the red flags and we're like, but he's so cute, or he smells so good, or, whatever it is. But the red flags are always there. All we have to do is open our eyes and be in touch with them. But, knowing kind of like what you mentioned earlier, like he didn't show up when he said he was going to show up, or, like Michelle said, like, or he didn't call when he said he was going to call. But there are always things there. If consistency is what you need and consistency is what you don't see, then that's a red flag there. Or if you're saying something and, you're getting a response that sounds totally left field, or like something that they didn't even listen to or unpack what you said,
Like a deflection.
Those are important things as well. The signs are there. We just have to pay attention to them.
Right.
In the beginning, I feel like with some women, or let me stop saying some women, with myself, you
Keep it a buck.
You see the red flags, you're like, I'm going to be the one to change it, or I'm going to be the one to change it because I'm so great. So let me dive into this challenge. It's going to be fun. You end up getting hurt. I was going to start with some woman, me. You end up getting hurt because it's not a challenge. It's not for you to heal somebody else, unless you're a licensed therapist and that's your job and you want to have them on your couch every hour. We think we can do everything as Black women, and we can't. And so when you find a man that hasn't healed and it's not time, if they don't love themselves, how do you expect them to love you? Like, how do you expect them to do something that they can't even do for themselves? Right. You will end up getting hurt. And like Lauren says, the signs are always there. Do most of us ignore them? Yeah, sometimes. Mm-hmm. But they be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nikki, did you want to add to that?
I would say definitely. I agree with what Michelle and Lauren both said. The signs are always there. No one is ever surprising you, but definitely back to what we said, make sure you're getting your healing, because when you love yourself, you're going to vibrate higher. You're going to attract that same vibration of a person to you. And it's red flags are going to be easily noticeable. You right. won't have to dig for them. You won't have to excuse them away. It will feel easier to get to know someone. You won't have to try. And so, especially early on, like, who's trying like that? Like, you either vibe with someone and so you want to naturally give them energy, or you don't. And if you don't, like, it's okay. Your feelings don't have to be hurt. There's other people, and, I also think it's important to understand, like, your own values and if they align with the other person's values, right? And I think I press the word values because everybody, like, has all these criteria, right? And they're not realistic because we're human, and you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. It just doesn't make sense, right? But if you know what your values are, I think that should be your guiding light.
Yeah. Sherelle's right in the chat. She said, "We are superheroes and think we can save these men, LOL." And then Sherelle, how do we clap on here? Because y'all speaking to my soul. Thank you, Sherelle. I don't know how you clap on this thing.
Yeah, I don't think
we can't save these men. You can't save them all.
You can't save anybody.
And I'm sorry, Devin, I also want to say, when I talk about grace, you have to be careful. Sometimes you will meet people that aren't healed, but they're actively working on themselves. Right. They actively know what is wrong. They actively can tell you, this is what I work on. This is what I'm trying to work on. This is how I got here. And I don't always think it's bad if you are with someone like that, that's active. Unless, like, if you love them, you have the patience to go through that journey with them. I don't think it's always turns out to be a negative. But if you're with someone that does not want to acknowledge these problems, that's when the negativity can set in.
Right. But one thing I do want to point out, for a lot of people I've met over the years who had issues, who would come out and tell everybody, this is my issue. Maybe I'm cynical. Maybe I'm getting cynical in my old age. That's a hustle to me. There'd be a lot of people who were like, I got this issue. They'll tell you they got the issue up front so they can get close to you and keep using that same excuse and not putting the work in. I know you know the issue. I know you got the problem. I know you say you're working on the problem, but you cross that line one more time, you're going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel sometimes. I feel like sometimes people learn early on how to use their issues as a form of manipulation to get what they want. That's just me.
Yes. Now it's getting interesting because we can go back and forth. So I'm going to counter you on that and say, we all know there's levels to everything, right? Mm-hmm. So I can come to you, Devin, and I'd be like, I like you so much. You're so great. My problem is I don't know how to communicate. I have trust issues. And then you go, okay. And I can say, but I'm actively working on it, right? And then you go, okay, let's see where this goes. 3 months in, I'm not on no wellness journey. I'm not going to therapy. I'm not journaling. I'm doing nothing to work on such problem that I have. Right. I'm just letting you know I have a problem so I can use it as an excuse. I agree with you 100%. There's a hustle, but there's a difference with someone telling you they have a problem and someone saying I have this problem, but I go to therapy every Thursday at 3. I meditate every week at 5 p.m. I journal and I do this, and this. Right. I think that's where the difference sets in for me, though. Like, I think that's where the difference sets in.
I totally understand. I think that's a very good point.
Yes, queen.
Now, that leads me to my next question. Can love heal somebody? I can't hear nothing you say, Michelle.
Self-love can heal somebody. self-love. I don't want anybody in here getting it twisted, thinking
Yeah.
my love is going to heal you. Yes, love can help, but the healing has to come from within.
Mhm.
Amen.
I think when you say can love heal someone, 100% Lauren, self-love. You that's where you have to start. But also something you said earlier, Devin, when you make that mistake, that you have someone that has that grace that can look at you and say, it's okay, you made this mistake. What can we do now?
Mhm.
That can really help. If you're by yourself and you are feeling really dark and low, and you then are trying to pull yourself out, and you get to step 5 and you fall back to 2,
Mhm.
and there's no one there to say, but you're trying, it's okay, get back on that horse, get back to 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. That's a difference from having that person that tells you, okay, you were at 5, you came back to 2, you're not perfect, now get your ass back on that horse and let's make it work.
Yeah.
That is a love in a way that can make you better, right? Because
True.
you are trying to find your self-love. But like Lauren said, if you don't start with that self-love and you think that my love alone is going to make you better, you're wrong. It's not going to work.
Right. 100% agree.
I definitely agree with what both of you said again.
I'm sorry, guys.
I also feel like if you put someone in a place that requires their love to feed you that much for you to get your healing, you're going to drain that person, and yet you won't have that person.
Right.
So, there's some harmony that has to, play out. There has to be some sort of circuit between two people that are constantly feeding each other, because no one's perfect. But if you're the person in the relationship that is getting all the love, because you're so tapped out,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work. You're not going to swing like this.
Right.
You're going to be, you know what? I'm tired of him. And
Yeah.
that's when all the insults start to come,
True.
because you're draining them. You don't want to be a vampire. You don't want to be a leech. So, I think like what Lauren said, self-love is where it starts. Self-love is the most important thing, because there's no guarantee that you'll even find someone.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you do. But like, what if you find someone and God forbid something happens to them, knock on wood, right? So, you want to have the self-love, so you're never in a place where you need somebody else. Not to say like, I think being in relationships are important, and they give you something very, very special, very unique, that you can't, replicate otherwise, in a way. But at the same time, they can also be destructive if you're not going into it knowing how to fill your own cup. So.
And I think we have to always remember that relationships are never 50-50. I know a lot of people say that, but they're not. There's going to be times where your partner is going to be at 30 and you have to pick up 70% of that slack. There's going to be times where they're at 70, you're at 30 and they're going to have to pick up 70. It's never 50-50. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a time where you're both 100 and 100. But it's never this split thing where it's like, you do this and you didn't do this, so I'm not doing this. And it's like tit for tat. It's not successful. You have to be able to figure out at the time what that person needs.
Gotcha. That's a good point. Thank you very much. So let's move on to the next topic. The next topic I want to talk about was the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And we've talked about healing in order to prepare ourselves for love. Let's say we've done our healing, we put in our work, we reconnected with our higher power, or whatever that is. Now we're ready for love. We found somebody, we connected with them. Let's ask some questions so we can go deeper into what that looks like. And the first question I want to ask you ladies in this section is, how would I as a man lead with love? What does that mean when you lead with love? And what do you expect when someone is leading with love?
The best way I think about leading with love for all people, men, women, and the like, is coming from a place where you are seeking to understand more than you're seeking to be understood. So much of the strife and the fighting and the combativeness in our society, on social media, in relationships, and everywhere else, in the workplace even, is because we're constantly like this with one another, at each other's throats, although we all have our own opinions, period. And so much arguing takes place because I'm so busy trying to prove my point to you. Mm-hmm. And I remember my nana used to always tell me as a little kid, I never understood it. Don't argue with no fool. Don't argue with no fool. And then I saw it later and it was written a little better, it was like, you cannot argue with a person who is hell-bent on misunderstanding you.
Right.
And that's almost how it is we are constantly trying to prove our point to someone rather than seeking, what is it that you're trying to tell me? What are you really feeling? So we lead with love when we come from a place where, let me understand you. Like what you're doing here, Devin, is having this room, this panel where we can seek to understand one another rather than, no, you, Nikki, Michelle, Devin, y'all need to understand this, what I'm trying to tell you, you know, I'm seeking to understand you more than I'm seeking to be understood. So that to me is leading with love, part of it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lauren. Lauren's my spirit animal, by the way. But I love Lauren. But I feel like she's always thinking what I'm thinking. To expand on that, I don't know about you guys, but do you know how great love is when you and your partner are there to just serve each other? Like, it's just so amazing. Like, I'm here to serve you, you are here to serve me. And by that, meaning that if I say something and you do not understand, you really take the time to say, explain it to me. I want to understand where you're coming from. That does not mean I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to have the patience to really understand where you're coming from. And then when you're done, I want you to take a minute and listen to where I am coming from. And 9 out of 10, most of the time, y'all both saying the same thing in different ways. Like, honestly, you really are. And, and when I learned that and I experienced that, and I'm experiencing that now, I'm just like, wow, all those times we
She's getting deep. It froze.
And there's just been this negative connotation. And I was like this for a long time. The Virgo in me will tell you, when I heard that word submit, I ain't submitting to nobody. I make my own money. I pay my own bills. Who am I submitting to? It's because I didn't meet nobody that made it great for me to feel like they could lead me in any way.
Right.
I didn't. And when I met someone that I felt like could lead me in a way, it came so naturally. I didn't even know I was doing it. I didn't. So when you talk about how do you lead in love, it's really exactly what Lauren said. Like, just really being there to understand people and listening, not to respond, listening to really understand what they're saying and really serving each other.
Did you want to add, Nikki?
Yeah, sorry. I don't even know if I have anything to add to that, honestly. Like, a couple of things that I was thinking about when y'all were talking was like, definitely you find, I saw an interview with Will Smith recently, and one of the things that he says in the interview is he wishes that everyone would, before they were able to speak, repeated until they got it right what the other person meant or said, like clarifying. And I was thinking, dang, those been long conversations. And I know like times where like my husband and I will have a misunderstanding and we're trying to like understand each other. Those conversations be long too, because they be like, okay, did you say, and then you're tweaking every little thing until you get the understanding, and you're like, oh, we did all of that just to say that we're saying the same thing. So you just wanted to, you wanted fries instead of roasted potato, Yeah. So, leading with love is definitely one of those things that I would add, lead with patience and gratitude, because that person does not have to do that. You know what I mean? Most people don't want, like we all agree, like, you're talking over each other half of the time and not really wanting or interested in what the other person says. But for people to want to be present with you and to have this moment of connection and intimacy, I think that is a way of leading with love.
True, and I'm glad you mentioned and brought up gratitude, because that's 100% correct. I think a lot of times in relationships, you're with somebody so long and you see their flaws and you see the things you don't like about them, but you forget how much of a blessing it is to be with this person sometimes. And this person is giving you something important. They're giving you time, and time is life. They're giving you some of their life because they love you so much. So it's important to be grateful and remain grateful in a relationship. I'm so glad you brought that up. So
yeah, not Devin dropping the gems. I'm a part of their life. Yay!
that's true.
Y'all caught that, right? That was on time.
You
You're
dropped
like,
the gems today, Devin.
Now, Michelle, you brought up something that I think is a very important subject. We live in a culture now where gender roles are kind of changing and switching. A lot of people feel like the old-fashioned way of doing things don't really work anymore, or what have you, or some people are just trying to destroy the old way of doing things. And you mentioned submission, and you mentioned leading, a man leading. A lot of women hate those terms. A lot of men are really advocating for those terms. So what does a man need to have as far as his characteristics to make a woman feel comfortable with that kind of a partnership and feel comfortable being in a position where he's going to take the lead?
I think a lot of men that are so adamant when it comes to the words about submit and lead, again, not all, because I never want to generalize like that, but some that are so adamant about their lives can't even lead their own lives.
Right.
And you out here trying to get somebody to follow you into the ocean with no parachute, no lifeguard, nothing. You just want them to blindly follow you. Like, I've met people that can't even pay their rent on time every month, and you want me to follow you where, sir? Home to the homeless shelter? Like,
where we going?
Where are we
Sir,
going?
please tell me.
So I think it's like a fine line, like everything else in life. A lot of Black women have met these type of men that are like, you need to submit to me. I'm the leader of the household, but you can't provide. And if we're going back to gender norms and we're going back to old school, then men provide. And if you cannot provide, I am not following you. And by provide, that doesn't always mean money. You can't provide for me spiritually. You can't provide for me mentally. You can't provide for me in any way. And let's add financially, because yes, I want to be with a man that I can pay things, but he got it. And if we hit a rough patch and it's my turn, then it's my turn, right? But men cannot do that, but they want women to follow them. And I don't know where we going. It's kind of like that little meme. It's like, I want to ride or die. It's like, why I gotta die?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Why I gotta die?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that is the main problem. When we look at our grandparents or our great-grandparents or the stories we hear, these men were the lead of the household, right? And like I said, one important thing that I've learned, that when it came to submitting, I was always that girl that was like, I'm not doing that. And I got in a relationship where I'm doing that, and I didn't even know I was doing that. And somebody pointed out to me, and I was like, oh, it feels natural. I didn't know I was doing all that. So my man was like, it's so great to be in a relationship where you trust me to lead, and you just, are my woman, and we do all these things together, but you trust me to lead. And I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing. Oh, yay, it feels great. Right. And I think it comes naturally, and when it's right, it's right.
Gotcha. You want to say something, I think?
It takes knowledge of self for them to do that. That's how I see it. I love everything you said, Michelle. We want a man who can provide spiritually, financially, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, sensually, romantically, like all those things. And you're absolutely dead on with the submission will happen naturally without you even knowing it. Because when that man is leading, we look at the history of how submission was perceived, and it was mostly those men were providing financially and nothing else. And most of the marriages, kept going based off of that, because the woman couldn't work, or because she was making less, or because whatever reason. And now submission happens naturally. I had the same kind of thing where I didn't even realize I was submitting, because I was like, oh, because you leading the hell out of this thing right here. Like, okay. And I'm a natural alpha, if y'all couldn't tell. I can't never shut up. But that's in me. And I'm automatically like, no, I know what I should be doing. I know what you should be doing. I know who I am. I know who you are. I know all of this because I'm the alpha. And then I got into a position where I had an alpha who knew and this and that. And it was like, oh, shoot, I'm actually following the vision. And to submit really just means to submit to the vision. Most people have the definition of submission all backward, but that's another thing, because reading and comprehension is, again, not synonymous.
Got you. Thank you. Submit.
Yes, Lauren.
I like that. Okay, so let's move on. So you mentioned romance. How important is romance in a relationship, and what the Johnny hell is romantic to y'all insane women nowadays? What's romantic for y'all? What do y'all feel that means in a general sense?
Did you say y'all insane
No, I
women?
didn't say that at all. You heard totally wrong. My mic must be messed up or something. Something went wrong. I damn sure ain't
I
say.
think I heard that too, Lauren.
Nah. Never
My
that.
dude.
Never that.
It's
I
cool. It's
think
cool.
I think you got to be careful. This is one area we have to be very careful. One lady might like a picnic in the park, where another lady wants you to take her to a 5-star restaurant, and both are okay. You as a man need to know your budget and need to know what you're willing to spend on a woman. And you might not be compatible with that woman that wants to go to 5-star restaurants if that's not your thing. She might look amazing, she might look great, but you can find a woman that looks amazing and beautiful and great that likes picnics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes men chase what they can't afford. That sounds bad, but it's true. If you can't afford, if you can't afford to take, what is that?
I was like, I ain't gonna say nothing. So I got a chicken or something in their house. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna wait till somebody else say something first. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
That's how you laugh when something funny but true.
Yeah.
You can't afford her, and that's okay, because you might be like, "Hey, I'm gonna get her, I'm gonna take her to the 5-star restaurant," and you guys get in a relationship and she wants that every Saturday. How that gonna work? Now you calling her a gold digger? No, she was never meant to be in your life. You can't afford that.
Right.
And I feel like romance is very important, and you have to be careful. There's women out there that can get all the stuff that money can buy, right? They can take themselves to the 5-star restaurants, amazing trips, all these things. And they might just love for you to be creative and cook for them at home and watch a movie and decorate the house. And, so it's, that question is very hard, because if I think of me and my girls, we're all totally different on what we would think is romantic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that makes it very hard for men, because, you might meet a woman that looks good. And I feel like everyone in my circle looks amazing. So you might just be like, I want that one. But that might not be who's compatible when you are romantic. And romance is so important. Maybe walking by the kitchen and hitting your girl's ass, that may be cute. That's romantic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she said, "Oh." So I think that question is, I feel bad for men when it comes to that. I really do, because every woman is different.
Very true.
Different. I can go in a group chat and be like, "Girl, he did this, this, and this, and this," and my friends would be like, "Ew, why can't he take you here?" And I'm like, "I loved it," So
Definitely. I think also love languages is an important thing. Like,
yes.
know yours and then know theirs. Because I don't think it's not necessarily compatibility all the time. It's just the not knowing.
And if you can't afford the dinner, you can't afford the dinner, Nikki.
I'm sorry?
If you can't afford the dinner, you can't afford the dinner.
Yeah, but that
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But you can work toward it. You can work toward it and be like, all right, babe, I can't do it every weekend.
Learn, take her to cooking class with you. That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
If also maybe gifts are her thing, but also quality time. So you can do that, also like men out here could be a little bit more creative. Like, yes, if the woman is all about your pockets, if that value matches yours, then that's alignment.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Right? But if like your love language is, quality time or acts of service, and hers is, also maybe quality time, then it's easy, right? Because how you want romance, it's gonna be similar, hopefully.
Right.
And so I think that's also important. Like, talk to people and ask questions, and they can tell you what they like. And then you can do it. And then you can say, oh, this is romance.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But you have to be careful too, because you, like Devin, I don't know, you can attest for this. You're the man in the group. Mm-hmm. You meet a woman and you're like, I think you're cute. You exchange numbers and you say, what would you like to do? She's gonna be like, oh my God, he came and planned a date. He gonna ask me what I want to.
Yeah. Or like if you ask.
And where does that leave you?
Yeah.
Are you then supposed to take the quiz with each other before you go on your first date?
That's fair.
I just want to know.
That's fair, but I feel like first date is basic. Like, who's trying to impress you that hard? Like, why do I need to take you like dinner? Can we go to coffee? Can I know if I want to take you to dinner before
Not
we?
all women are like that.
Nah,
Not all women are like that.
well,
That's wild to me. Because like, why do I want to be at a nice restaurant with someone I don't like as a woman? Is my
I agree. That's you though. Some women make
you
it
know,
a
Black women are not monolithic, so there's that.
Well, usually, as a man for the first date, it gotta be dinner. Like coffee, that's like we just chilling or whatever. Coffee is like a pre-date kind of thing. As a man, you gotta at least provide a decent dinner or something like that. I can't just like if it's
I'll say a part
hold on.
active.
The environment says a lot. So if you suggest let's have coffee, that means I ain't really feeling you like that. I don't want to see your goofy ass at night. So we're gonna go and get some coffee. That's what that means. If a woman
That's
says
not what that means. That's not what that means.
your vibe,
Sorry,
this is why. See, this
So
is
why is that what that means?
because
but Nikki,
usually
you have to be careful. You grew up in a certain generation. Like all women are, like you said, not monolithics. For you, I've seen things, and I'm basing it off social media and stuff like that, where they post certain questions, and women have said, if he take you to coffee, he don't like you. I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, usually because usually nighttime, and not even the word. I don't mean the word intimacy like anything like physical, but usually nighttime is more like fun. It's more intimate. It's more of a time for a connection. So if it's coffee, that means it's during the day. It's mad people around. It's gonna be kind of loud. It's gonna be somebody sitting at one of them little goofy tables. So we're gonna have a hard time really.
That's not true. Starbucks got booths. First of all,
Not Starbucks got booths.
Starbucks got booths.
I don't go to
I
Starbucks.
don't want you to take me out at night if I haven't decided if I like you like that yet.
That's what I'm saying. You just proved me right. That's exactly what I mean.
All right. So Sherelle said she would like coffee or drinks.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think we're proving that over communication is the answer to this question.
Yeah.
Over
Right.
communication.
It might
I think you asking if the man is asking a woman out, giving her two options. Would you like to do dinner or coffee?
right.
Showing that you can take the authority and plan the date, but you are giving her the option to decide. Because typically, as for me, but a lot of women that I know and talk to, it is inside of them already on the first date that they know whether or not they are going to sleep with this man, kiss this man, or give this man a second chance. So, it is very important.
Is that true?
But
yeah.
I've heard that. I don't know if it's true or not.
Sherelle said, "Yup."
I mean, for most women, like, I mean, usually we can look at you and be like, this sex gonna be whack. Or, we know, like, this dude ain't a natural born leader. What he gonna do with me?
Yeah.
So, it just depends on how much the woman knows herself. But I feel that over communication is absolutely crucial at those first stages. Like, you need to, a lot of us are so scared to say something like, I don't want to make them feel bad. And I want you to know, like, okay, I like this. I like all 5 love languages, but don't touch my face on the first date or you might get slapped. So I think that,
I said, don't touch me.
Like that's my thing. Like I feel like we should be comfortable over communicating. I see, I hear it from friends all the time, not all the time, but I hear it from friends sometimes. And I'm like, I remember this one story and my friend goes, well, he was going down on me. And I was like, was it good? And she was like, no, it was terrible. And I was like, did you tell him? And she was like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, no. Sir, slow down. You need to be able to talk and communicate in all phases and have that communication. I'm not trying to put you down, but speed it up or slow it down. Do something because what you're doing ain't working. Gotcha. And we need to be able to. I'm just saying, we got to be able to be transparent. If I can't be real with you, then what's the point? Eventually, we're trying to see each other in our drawers. And
that's why we need to go coffee first.
Oh, Nikki's back to the coffee. I like
she
what
was
Lauren
going to circle
said.
back to the coffee.
I like what Lauren said, over communicating and giving the options. Like, I got this. I want to plan a beautiful date for us. Would you rather do this or this, this or that, this or that? And it weeds out because I might want to go to the amusement park. Nikki wants to go to the coffee. Now you take me.
I'll go to the amusement park too. I like an active day date.
I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here like, I don't even like coffee. Why are we here? You know what I mean? So I really love what Lauren said about over communicating.
Or wine tasting.
Okay, Nikki, thanks for the
You just
good
you
ideas.
just like to have beverages. Somebody, hubby, please take Nikki out for some coffee.
Walking around.
Tequila tasting.
I just want to ask you questions before we get to nighttime intimate dates where you want to hold my hand. Like, relax.
I think the moral of this story is romance is very, very important, but you need to over communicate before you get to know your partner.
Right. Gotcha.
Nice summary.
Now let's throw this one out there because women hate answering questions directly and usually get frustrated when a man says, "What do you find romantic?" A lot of times they feel like you don't know that, you can't tell. They get a little bit annoyed and frustrated when they have to, like saying over communication is the answer. That's easy to say, but a lot of times in my personal experiences, women don't like communicating about that kind of stuff. They expect a man to know, and if you don't know, okay, you get a big fat F and get out.
But is that a woman or a girl?
Huh?
Is that a woman or a girl?
I would say woman.
I was gonna say
that doesn't like to communicate.
They don't like to communicate when it comes to romance or sex. They expect a man to just know and have the ability to just telepathically figure it out through osmosis.
I think that's why Michelle's trying to make the difference.
Yeah. I think that's a big difference.
Okay.
Because you have to be confident in yourself enough to say, like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit through a whole entire date like this fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I could have really just been like, no, I don't want to go for coffee and drinks with you. Right. I want you to take me to this new restaurant that's gonna break your bank. I want you to take me there. I think it's important. Like I like what you're saying, but I think it's important that we are real with ourselves. Like, yes, a woman does want a man to be romantically spontaneous. Like, we want dumbass shit. Like, I want you to want to buy me flowers. No man wants to want to buy you flowers. Like 5% of them do. 5%. And they're usually the one, come on. We have to be realistic with our expectations and realistic, like, because also men deserve romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Amen.
Most women aren't gonna go and like rub their man feet, like, because they probably smell like Cheetos. I'm just saying that because my son smells like Cheetos some days and he's proud of it. But I think that's important. But before we zoom past it, I want to mention that Sherelle did say, how would you as a female feel if you and a man decided to go out for dinner and while there he decides he's not eating but you can, and this is the first date?
Oh, he broke. He can't afford 2 meals.
That's why you should have went to coffee.
I knew she was gonna circle back again. Please take her for coffee.
But see,
I would have found that out.
But he suggested it.
But this is one of the instances where I'm very weird because I intermittently fast for spiritual reasons. So I might take you out because I know you want to eat, but I'd be like, I'm fasting for 2 days. So
yeah.
I get you here, but it could be something underneath that though.
That's not weird if you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She said I'm fasting too.
I think but why would you offer dinner?
Well, I've been with a guy who did that. I've been with a guy who did that before. He was fast. Huh?
Coffee winery.
He was fasting and he was like, let's go eat. Because I was like, because I'm gonna eat. And we went on there. We had a good old time because he was great conversation. I mostly listened and chewed, and then afterward we talked, and it was cool.
Let's ask Sherelle a follow-up question. Sherelle, did he explain to you why he wasn't eating, or he just said, I'm not hungry? Because then that's weird if you offer dinner and you're just not hungry. So,
and to answer you, Nikki, for me, it wasn't weird, but that's also because I knew him for a couple of months. Like, it wasn't our first date. So never mind.
Yeah. Sherelle, let us know. Like, okay, let me see. She said he was going to his house after the dinner.
Huh.
Oh, so he's saying I'm not gonna eat because I'm gonna get food in my aunt. Oh, nah, he broke.
Yeah, he's still broke.
That's real broke.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. If I'm broke, I ain't going to dinner.
Not even an appetizer?
No, okay, hold on. To play
an appetizer.
But to play devil's advocate though, what if he really was broke, but he really wanted to please her and to put her first?
I know Sherelle very, very, very well. And if he knows her in any way, I don't know, Sherelle. I don't know if I know this story. I'm trying to think. But that would make her feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So you're trying to make the person.
He would need to know. Yeah, he would need to know that would make you feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Now you so-called want to please so much. Now Sherelle, yes, it did.
So now I want to ask another question. there's been a lot of commentary that I've seen, and it was actually a friend of mine who put something up on Facebook about how a lot of Black women are not feeling protected. And I want to know, I mean, from my personal experiences, all of my friends are guys in relationships. All of my friends are married men. I know for a fact that I have friends of mine who bought guns to protect their families. I know friends of mine who don't play about theirs, but it's a lot of Black women who are feeling like Black men are not stepping up to protect you guys, you ladies. So what do you think Black women need from Black men so you can feel comfortable and feel like you are really being protected? And like in my personal situation that I've gone through in the past, I overdo it a little bit. Like if my wife came home and said somebody disrespected her, I would, start loading up weapons in my book bag to go handle the situation, and then she'd be scared of that. How do you find that balance, and what can we do to make you guys feel protected?
So I think it's very important to say this. I feel very protected by Black men when I'm around Black men I know. If I'm in a grocery store and something happens, I can confidently say not a lot of Black men are going to come to my defense because they don't know me. That's what Black women mean when they say they don't feel protected by Black men. Now, is it Black men's obligation to be going around protecting Black women out there? I can't answer that, right? But I've been in situations where things have happened and there were Black men there, and in our culture, we love to say, I'm gonna just mind my business. And those Black men didn't do anything to protect me. I protected myself because, listen, I will go down swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
And I would do whatever I had to do to get myself out of that situation. We've seen videos where, not recently, but there was a woman at the liquor store and the guy tried to talk to her and she said, no, I'm good. And they jumped her outside. And now there are people recording it, and they recorded it. Were they Black men? Again, I don't know. But where she was, I'm pretty sure there was one Black man there. They didn't protect her because let me mind my business. Now, if it was her brother, her uncle, her boyfriend, somebody there that knew her, he would have protected her to no end. And I feel like for me, that's what Black women mean when they say they're not feeling protected by Black men.
I want to add a quick footnote to that story. There's a Black woman who I follow on Instagram. Her name is Goddess Ayana, and she was talking about that story as well. And
I follow her.
Yeah, she mentioned that she went on Instagram and was like, "This is what happened to this sister. I want y'all to handle it." And then one of the guys who was involved in that, it was two guys who jumped her. One of the guys ended up getting seriously the daylight beat out of him because they felt like what you did was wrong to that sister. So they didn't stop him at the time, but people in that Black men in that neighborhood stepped up and found the guy, one of the guys at least, and hospitalized him. So that was
I think I saw that. And
So
the woman, I don't know if y'all remember, there was a nurse in, I don't remember where it was, New Jersey or somewhere, I think it was beyond Connecticut. And the Black woman in the house was being terrorized by her neighbors.
Yes.
And Black folks just rallied around, I mean, night and day, and just protecting her. And I mean, I think that comes from the elevated and the healed Black kings, the men who are confident in who they are and comfortable with who they are. Because I know so many Black men who, I mean, they'll be on the phone with me and they're like, hold up, let me check this sister out. Because they'll see something and they're just on alert. Like, no, I don't care who you are. You Black, you my queen. I got you. And that's just, that I think that comes with a different level of Black man, a Black man who knows himself, who loves himself, and who would ride or die. And it doesn't always have to be violence, but it's just presence. Right. Like knowing that I'm not going to just let somebody talk out the side of their neck to you. I'm going to stand right behind you till you get out the door. I'm going to hold the door for you. I'm going to put your groceries in the car for you. You good? Get home safe. All right.
Yeah. And I agree with that 100%. But Black women are still saying that. So I feel like it's not happening as much as it should, because they are still saying that. And for myself and Sherelle too, we've been in situations where we've had to protect each other while Black boys, not kings or whatever, stand there and watch because they don't know us. We're none of their business. And I'm trying to think of a situation where I've been protected by Black men I don't know in a situation, and I can't give you one.
Wow.
And I think there's been a lot of, say that again?
I'm sorry. No, I was wondering if it's knowing that we're also going to have their back as well. Maybe that's the knowledge that's needed to know that we are also going to cover y'all.
And I think so. Like, I've been in situations where it's my first instinct is to do that. And I get told all the time, like, chill. It's not that serious. And that's okay.
I think Black men know that.
Yeah, I know.
Proven that we always be there. I'm sorry, you can hear me?
Say that again. No, I just couldn't.
Oh, I was saying that I think that Black men know that Black women will always be there. I think they take that for granted, honestly.
Well, we can't say that.
I
But
wouldn't
that's
lump and say all of them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
but
lump
okay.
that.
Not all of them. It's not an absolute statement. This is true. But I do think on a cultural level, I think that it's taken for granted how Black women hold the people down, including Black men. Like you have Black men that have been brutalized by police who have later, you've seen their social media and how they disrespect Black women left and right. Like Black men are quick to disrespect Black women when certain things happen. You know what I mean? You don't really see that in other races in the same way. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but like Black men are quick to try and like, and I think it all comes, back to white supremacy and how Black men feel about their own selves.
Hold on, can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah,
I'm a little bit confused. I feel like we went from one subject to the next, and
I don't want to.
I'm a little my head's spinning.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. So you were saying that you feel like Black men take Black women having their back for granted.
Yeah.
Prove that. Prove that. That's a big statement about Black men. Prove it.
I think so you see in media, right?
Wait. We live in a white supremacist culture where media is going to portray us in a negative way and cast us against each other. Prove it.
Okay. It can't be an absolute statement. So if you're looking for me to prove something that's not an absolute statement, I think it's a trend. How about that? Is that a more comfortable language?
A trend is still an absolute statement. You said it's a trend.
Or you can say your experience.
In your experience,
like
have
reality of a lot of situations have been. I'm not saying all. You know what I mean? I could never stand here and say like all Black men. I don't feel that way about my husband. I think my husband
so many
Black women. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I'm not
in your experience.
Exactly. So from my experience, there's times where Black women are on the cutting block, and a Black man has the leverage or maybe the influence to help and does not. He does not take it. He doesn't see the connection that maybe a Black woman in a vice versa position would feel towards a Black man. And that's not true across, I preface that by saying that's not true across boards, but, as a woman, if I'm going into something, that's in the back of my mind, especially when I don't know the person.
Right.
If I do know and I'm around Black men that I know, then I feel like, they're going to look out for me. I feel safe. But if it's around Black men I don't know, I can't call it. I don't know where they're going to go.
Gotcha.
I've never gone into a situation or a grocery store or somewhere sketchy, I should say, and be by myself and I see Black men everywhere and be like, whew, I know it's not gonna happen to me here.
Right.
I'm being so honest with you. I've never felt that. And I've been in situations where I'm from Ghana. So let's say I go to a Ghanaian party and we're having a good time. I'm in that situation like ain't nothing gonna happen to me here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest because I know at least 30 people in here, and we might not be family by blood, but they're not gonna let nothing happen to me. And that should be the same thing if I go to somewhere else where I know Black. I've been in situations where I've known Black men, and there's been harmful things about to happen to me, and they've done. That's ain't my business.
For real?
I know them, but we're not like close. We're let's say associates, like college people. When we were in college, thank you, Sherelle.
Yeah,
we've been around Black men when we were in college, and certain things have happened where at a party, thank you, Sherelle, for the footnotes. At a party.
Right.
On Tuesday.
I'll tell, I wasn't going to tell the story, but I'll tell. So we're at a party, and this guy tried to keep dancing on Sherelle, and Sherelle kept saying, no, thank you. She wasn't even rude this time, because normally he's like, get away from me. She literally was like, no, thank you. And he kept like, still getting behind her. And she's like, no, I don't want to dance. I'm standing next to her. I turn around and say, can you just leave us alone? She doesn't want to dance. He straight up punched me in my face.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So we'd have both got punched in the face that night.
So
I would have been swinging.
Right. So now Sherelle is the one jumping on him, trying to beat him up. He pushes her. She said, I'm still
She
tight.
said, I'm tight still. Well, let's roll up. I got you.
We never knew who
Tight
it was.
now, too.
Yeah, he pushes her. She rolls her ankle in the heels. There's about 15 men that we go to classes with every day in that party. None of them did anything. If you are a Black woman that experiences that more than once, twice, or even one time, why would you ever go into another situation where you don't know these Black men and they're not family and think that Black men are going to protect you? Why would you feel that way?
Right.
So I can say confidently in my experience, I do not go places where I see Black men and be like, "Ooh, I'm good here." I don't. Unless I'm with my man, my dad, my uncle, or someone that knows me personally that cares about my well-being. I do not feel that way.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm grateful to hear these stories from y'all personally, because I had not felt that. I don't know if it's where we grew up regionally or what, but like anytime I'm around like my Black men, I'm like, oh, I'm good. And I fully feel that. I've never had to, fortunately, defend my life like you did, but god damn.
Yeah.
All because she didn't want to dance. This is not even like
right. Oh, I know how belligerent.
thing.
I know how belligerent they get. It's just I'm like flabbergasted.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at this because I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. There was a Nation of Islam mosque around the corner from where I lived. I've been studying the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for years out of my life, studying different levels of spirituality. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad always taught like a Black man's responsibility is to protect a Black woman. So I've never in my life ever, even the dudes I grew up with, we like Nation of Islam, but we study that and we believe in a lot of those teachings. So the idea of like a Black man just standing by and watching a Black woman get hurt is blowing my mind because it would never even occur to me. Like I've been in so many situations where I had to like intervene and step in between certain things, even with my own friends getting angry at their girlfriends, and I had to intervene in that. I can't sit back and let a woman. I mean, full disclosure, I grew up in a situation where there was abuse in my household growing up. So I grew up with the idea that I hated seeing men use the power to hurt women. I'd probably end up killing somebody. That's a couple of situations I ended up in was because men disrespected women, and I wanted to defend the woman. I can't imagine a dude just sitting there like. I can't even wrap my mind around that. I just blows my mind. I can't even imagine what I would do if I had a weapon in my hand or something like that in a situation where a woman got hurt. I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be in jail. I'd be on the run somewhere from slicing somebody. I can't even imagine that. But I'm sorry, I don't mean to get all violent. That just I can't even imagine a dude like literally just standing there with a drink in his hand while the chick getting punched in the face.
That's the dudes I know. And I mean, even when it's not guys I know, I don't know, that is so amazing.
Yeah, like I've been in situations where I'm walking the street late night and I see some dude like threatening a woman and I intervene like, yo, back up, yeah. Like I don't even know none of them. Just back up. Just get out her face.
Yeah, but it's amazing that there's pockets of men who don't see it that way and who don't think that the woman is their responsibility. And we need to know that, we are one another's responsibility. We are our brothers, our sisters' keeper, and that
that's crazy to me.
We want to raise a better society and generation that truly believes that we have to protect one another. And there is power in that unity. And I guess that, Nikki touched on the white supremacy. I mean, it comes from the foundations of our society. It does. It comes from, us being separated from one another and teaching that, mind your own business, turn the eye, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. Police going to come and you're going to get arrested. And it's like, that fear, I guess, suppresses any thought of protect the woman or protect my
Sherelle
people.
says something very relevant. She said trauma affects people differently. Some people see it and learn from it, and some people see it and become it.
Right. Very true.
Oh yeah.
Very true.
Very true. Yeah. So I can I guess understand when women say that. I'm never gonna say all men are like that, but I can understand because if you have, and there's women that don't have one situation like that. They have situations like that. Several after. So I can see why a woman could feel that way, So.
Yeah, that really saddens me that y'all have to endure that kind of nonsense and you don't have to watch it back. I'm kind of depressed now.
Oh, don't be depressed.
I'm sorry, I won't start cursing, but I feel sad that I gotta deal with that kind of stuff and like nobody got y'all back.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for sharing. We've gone past the hour and a half mark. Y'all want to keep rolling, or y'all want to wrap it up now? Or Because we could do a part 2 if you want, and we can cover the last section, or we can just keep going depending upon what you have to do at this moment.
It's late over here, so if y'all comfortable wrapping up, we can wrap it up and maybe do a part 2.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think we could wrap it up because it's a lot for people to swallow anyway. I'm gonna it's being recorded. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube and send each of you guys the link. And then after that, if you guys want to continue, we could do the third part, the call to action, which is very important. But I didn't even know. Yeah, you guys were 100% right. They said, it was gonna take a little long to cover all this, and I'm sitting there like, no, we got 15, 20 minutes. We got it. No, y'all was 100% right. I was way wrong. So
Oh, black
imagine
women.
if we had white
Black
supremacy.
women. Just
Imagine we
saying.
had white supremacy too. We would have been here all night. But yeah, thank y'all ladies so much. I'm really honored and happy that you guys took time out of your schedules to speak and then add positivity and add light and talk about your experiences. I'm really happy with what we have, and hopefully we can do it again sometime in the future, and we can go a little bit further, a little bit more in depth. And I will be sending you guys the link to this video later on tonight. And peace and blessings to all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
your light.
Had a great time. This was good.
I had a good time too. Thank y'all very much.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Peace and blessings
Thank
to everybody. Good
Peace and
night.
blessings.
Thank you for everyone for coming. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.